Oh man, I fucking love winning, man. You know what I'm saying? It's better than losing. Oh man, like that. This was not a season-saving win. It wasn't anything like that. It wasn't. I don't. It's not going to springboard to the playoffs, division title, none of that. But fuck, it felt good to win one of these. You know, I mean, it's not their first win of the year, but I mean, you know, it looked like they were gonna lose again here. It was gonna be their probably their third 1 point loss to a really good team this year. But they held on this one, and man, like I said, it's not a season saver. You know, it certainly gives you more hope for the remainder of the season that they're gonna play well. The biggest thing I was thinking watching this game today, was how do you explain that Atlanta game? Because the season started, they were terrible. Then they were getting better. They get good against Tennessee, they lost. Good against Houston, they held on to one. Good, very good against Seattle, and they lost at the end. And then they throw this fucking clunker out there against Atlanta that makes no sense to me. To this, and makes even less sense now after this. Um, and then they go out here after the bye. They go play the high flying Packers, who are just rolling up points on everybody who isn't Tampa Bay, and you held them to 22 points. With who do they even have playing in the secondary in particular in the latter part of this game? Because Gladney got hurt early, and that looked really bad for Gladney. I mean, I that looked like that could have been like not just a concussion. I just heard him say he went to they took him to the hospital. That could have been, you know, that could have been like career-ending type of thing. So they lose him. They lose Chris Boyd. Second half, kind of in the fourth quarter, he came up non-contact injury, and he immediately grabbed his knee. So you're like, that might be his season. I don't even know who the hell they had on the second. I mean, I know they had. I know the last touchdown that Green Bay did get, it was on Metellus, that rookie. So he was out there. Harrison Hand was out there. Like these low round draft picks are out there, and then just guys signed off the street, and they won. They beat Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau with all that. That's amazing to me. Like, like I said, it's not. I'll say it a million times. It's not a season-saving win. It doesn't mean their season's going to turn around. They're going to go storming to the playoffs. But it validates everything I've been saying about Mike Zimmer, and hell, frankly, everything Aaron Rodgers said about Mike Zimmer this week, about how he's a really good coach. Like, you can't do what you did today if you do not have a coach who knows what he's doing. You just can't. And like, this hasn't been a banner year for Mike Zimmer, but he's gotten, what does he have to work with? Look at all the injuries they've had. This was their first game now since trading Ngakwe. You lose two more cornerbacks. You're starting rookies and just guys off the street everywhere. Like you don't even know when you're watching the game who's even in the game. Like, you don't even know. Like, it's just amazing the shorthandedness that they are playing with. And they won this game, and they could have. And you can't do the coulda, woulda, shoulda stuff. But fuck, if they had won even just one of those other two games that they lost by 1 point, or if they'd shown up against Atlanta like this, they'd still be in this. 2-5, you're not in it, but you know, um, but this was a fantastic performance by Zimmer, and first half was this weird half because you had um, some light here. Um, the first half was weird because there were really only four drives in the entire first half, two for each team. We weren't stopping Green Bay, they weren't stopping us. It was just this kind of they had this swirling wind going on at Lambeau today, so no one really wanted to air it out, and maybe give the game ball to the wind. Maybe that helped us today, but In fact, not even maybe. I'm sure it did, but um, you know, at the half it was 14-14. They drove methodically down twice, scored two touchdowns. We drove methodically down twice, scored two touchdowns. But the second half is really where this thing turned because they really got after Aaron Rodgers. Like, no, they didn't sack. They got him on one sack, and then of course they got the strip sack to end the game. Um, they got him on one sack before that, and I think that was wiped out by I think that was um, the 12 men penalty that I'm not totally sure was the right call, but hey, there could be complaints about the refs under different circumstances, but I think I'll let that go at least until later. Um, but the Vikings offense kept going. Like, you know, they got the ball to start the third quarter, went down, scored again. That was a third Dalvin Cook touchdown. Then they get the ball back after not allowing points, and oh, I cannot express how excited I was to see Gary Kubiak call an actual screen pass and to have it actually work. And Cook goes like, I don't even what, like 50, 60 yards for a touchdown. It was beautiful. It was my favorite play of the season by far. It was just a beautiful thing to watch because you just scream at every game. Where's the screen passes? Um, um, I'm listening to the replay of the PA call of the final play. He's so excited. We're all so excited. Um, um, I was gonna say, yeah, the Cook screen. It's like, oh, this is what I want. This is like, they didn't throw the ball much. I'm looking up the stats. They only threw 14 passes in the game, and Cousins had like 106 yards, and a lot of that was on the screen. Like, they weren't throwing the ball, and I don't know if that was the wind or just the game plan, or they don't trust Kirk. I mean, I kind of was hoping they would trust Kirk a little bit there in the fourth quarter, trying to protect that lead. But it was like it was the Dalvin Cook show. I mean, he was so good today. Like, bitch about him, bitch about the contract, all you want. Say that they shouldn't have signed him. He's an amazing player when he's out there, and I know he gets hurt. He was obviously not out there against Atlanta. Maybe that was the whole thing with the Atlanta game. I don't know. Defense was horrible that game, so I don't know if that's the case. But um, he's just an amazing player. He's if you exclude quarterbacks, he's got to be one of the top 5 players in the NFL. He has to be. I don't know how you could say he's not. He's just amazing. 4 touchdowns. Somehow that's the first 4 touchdown game from a Viking since Ahmad Rashad in '79. I don't know how the hell that's possible. I would have thought for sure like Adrian maybe got a 4 touchdown game, or even Moss, or even like Chris Carter or somebody. But I mean, this was a signature Dalvin Cook game for sure. Um, and it was just amazing to see. And they kept running. I mean, you know we almost were kicking ourselves there in the way the fourth quarter went. They had the ball up 28-14, and then a drive died, and then they couldn't finish. They still struggle with that a lot, finishing. Like, there was like um, a third and short before the Packers' last drive, where if they just convert this third and short, the game is over. And or maybe it was a little before that, and Cook gets tripped up in the backfield and they have to punt. It's like, um, they still struggle with that. I don't know what that's about. They weren't. They. I mean, it was a very vanilla offense at that point. Like, and it worked out. I mean, they, they managed. I will say they managed the clock perfectly at the end of the first half when they were getting that second touchdown, not giving Aaron Rodgers a shot. And they gave him a shot at the end, but they didn't give him a shot with timeouts. They didn't have a lot of time left. They didn't run their first offensive play there till 47 seconds were left. You know, it's kind of, when you're playing a guy like that, you just want to limit his chances. They kind of didn't do that with Russell Wilson. They gave him a lot of time to work If they'd given Russell Wilson 47 seconds only, things might have been different. But man, they really got, they didn't get a lot of pass, they didn't get a lot of pass rush on him, but I mean, you know, they were kind of moving him around. They were kind of upsetting him, kind of irritating him a little bit. And I guess that's the best you can ask for because I don't really know who the hell was even out there today. Obviously, Wanham was out there, Odenabo, um, Jula Johnson was out there. Like, you don't even know who these guys are. It's just, if everything had gone to plan, for the starting 11 on defense, how many of these guys would have even been playing? In that situation, the safeties and Kendricks, and that's about it. That's it. Like, and maybe Gladney. Gladney's coming along too. You know, he's out there playing his ass off. But man, this was a really really good one. Um, really good one to get. Like, because like even thinking like, okay, they're gonna, you know, I'm so I fucking hate the tank people. I hate the tank people. I hate all of them. But realistically, they're not going to go to the playoffs. But you know, hopefully they win some games. And if they're going to win some games, this is like the one of them that you really want them to win because it's not, you know, first win at Lambeau against Rodgers probably since 15. They beat him in 17, but that wasn't Rodgers. And after some of the bullshit that's taken place at Lambeau the last couple of years, man, this feels good to get one. And okay, I'll talk about the refs. Um, Most amazing thing from this game, other than just Dalvin being great, they called like at least four offensive holdings on the Packers. That's gotta be a record for a Packer home game. To have that many offensive holding calls. It was amazing, and they called a lot of penalties in this game. There were a lot of penalties on both sides, and there were some bad calls both ways. Like, I'm not kind of hard to roll through them in my head right now. Like, there was a PI on Irv Smith that ended a drive that I thought was bullshit, and there was one of the fourth down plays from Rodgers that fell incomplete. They threw a flag, and I was about ready to just fucking destroy something, but they picked that flag up at least. And then Dean Blandino comes out and says, "Oh, that was actually interference." Fuck you, Dean Blandino. Dean Blandino and Mike Pereira are the two most useless people in like sports media. All they do is go out there and just make fools of themselves every week. But you know, it's all the more reason why it's amazing. It's huge to get the win because you actually got a relatively fairly officiated game at Lambeau, which is like, I mean, that's, you know, we had a full moon on Halloween. It happens about as often as a full moon on Halloween. It's like, because you're always playing the refs there, and you didn't play the refs today. They called it fair. They called offensive holding on Green Bay multiple times and legit calls, and they didn't call the big PI, which would not have been PI, and there were a couple of calls, but like the best you can hope for is what you got today from an officiating crew at Lambeau Field, like. So let's see. Didn't really talk about Kirk that much, but there's not much to talk about with Kirk today because he didn't play that much. I mean, he was a game manager. He the screenplay was made up a big chunk of his passing yards. Mostly it was just like real short dump off type of plays. Nothing impressive, but whether it was the wind or the game plan, that's just not what they were doing. But Kirk's been Kirk. I'm a Kirk guy, but he's been an issue with turnovers this year. He didn't make any turnovers today, and he only got sacked, I think, once. And you remove some of those big swing plays like turnovers and big sacks and everything, and that helps you win a game like this. Um, but yeah, nobody really had a big game receiving. Thielen caught a couple, Jefferson caught a couple, um, and obviously Dalvin had the big screen. The screen pass is all that matters from that. Do more of that, Kubiak. Come on, I think we got Detroit next week. Do that against Detroit. Um, and the offensive line was fine. Like nothing glaring today. The one sack wasn't even. I'm not even sure was actually on the lineman. It might have been on Irv, kind of missing a block, but they were fine. Nothing to complain about. Nice game from. You don't often have to cite this, but nice game from Colquitt. Because one of the touchdowns, the Viking touchdowns, was this. The PAT was this really high snap. Colquitt got it down, and Bailey was able to kick it through. And then Colquitt had a nice punt there at the end. You know, that would have been a classic, you know, Vikings thing to have a shank punt there and give Rodgers a short field to go win the game. But he had a nice punt there at the end too. So kind of a good team win in that way. And the fact that Zimmer was able to pull this off with this depleted defensive personnel is just amazing to me. I mean, I'm not saying it's one of his greatest accomplishments, because I mean they still gave up 22 points, and you know obviously I think they got him on one punt, but those fourth downs that they got him, you know there were like three fourth down throws from Rodgers that fell incomplete, and that's the game really. I mean, that's how they ended drives, because Green Bay wasn't looking to try field goals or punt in a swirling wind. So, it's those are the play. They made the plays. They couldn't make the key fourth down stops against Russell Wilson, but they made the key fourth down stops a couple times against Rodgers. So that's the difference. I'm just so fucking glad they won this game. I'm so happy for Zimmer. I'm so glad that he got one, in his win column. Because man, he's been beleaguered. You know, people calling for his head. Everyone thought they were gonna get drilled today, myself included. And he goes out there and you know he somehow manages to pull this off with a very very thin defensive roster, and of course with injuries today, I don't know who the hell they're gonna have out there now next week. Um, but yeah, I can't fathom that Atlanta game now. It's even more inexplicable, because even if you know, you look at the progression from early part of the season to now, and they've really improved a lot, and then there's just this Atlanta game sticking it out like a sore thumb, and I don't understand it. Maybe it was just the Dalvin thing. Maybe it was just Kirk was so bad that just threw everything else off. But you know, this one, means we're 2-5. They're not in the playoffs. They're not going to be in the playoffs. I think the Rams lost, so that would help for a playoff push. And hell, you're only three back of the Packers now, so I guess that helps too. But um, I'm not looking at it as this is the springboard now. Um, Even if they were 3-4, I wouldn't really look at it as the springboard. But it's just really nice to get a win. You got your first win against LaFleur. That's big. First win at Lambeau in a couple years, and first win against Rodgers in Lambeau in a few years. First win against Green Bay, period, since 18. Um, and going forward now, like this level of effort and performance, they're going to win some games, and that's going to piss off the tank Nazis. And oh, I'm so sorry that you tank Nazis are in bad shape now that we won a game. How dare we win a game? And I was seeing the comments online during the game, people mad that we were winning, and I'm sure they're mad that we won, but it's like draft will work itself out. Just it's good to get a win. Don't you feel good to get a win, especially at Lambeau against the fucking Packers and Aaron Rodgers? And oh, does it feel good? This is what you want. This is why you watch. This is why you follow the team. You root for them, so you can have these moments. We haven't had the ultimate moment, but you have these moments where you get that win. You get that win that you really really want or you really don't expect, and you're so fucking happy about it. Like I'm gonna be beaming the rest of the day, and like it doesn't mean they're going to the playoffs. It doesn't mean they're gonna you know they're gonna just go on a run. It doesn't mean that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this moment. It doesn't matter because they got a big win, a big exciting win, unexpectedly. Like this has got to be the biggest. Like I don't even know what the point spread was, but just in terms of like an upset win. When was the last time the Vikings had an upset win like this? Like this was a huge upset to win this game. These don't happen very often. You know, you gotta enjoy them, man. You know, like the tank Nazis are probably just beside themselves with anger right now. It's like just try to enjoy something, man. Just enjoy a win. Enjoy a big win against your rival on their home field. You know, this doesn't happen often, and it might you don't know how many more wins you're going to get this year. You don't know what rest of the season is going to hold. It doesn't matter. Just enjoy the day. Enjoy the win. It's like we got a really cool, exciting win that you can really feel good about, and that's all that should matter. And you draft people, you tank Nazis and you Zimmer haters and you Kirk haters for that matter. Just shove it aside for one day so you can enjoy a win. Because I sure just fuck didn't expect this to um, I sure as fuck didn't expect this to happen today, and I'm delighted that it did. Um, and you know, I'm at the point of where I'm rambling, so I'll probably just cut it off here. But great game today. Great job, Zimmer. Great job, Dalvin. Great job, DJ Wanham on the strip sack at the end. Skull. Fuck the pack. Fuck the tank Nazis. Fuck the Zimmer haters. We're going forward.